I never thought I'd be that guy, the one who gets blindsided by betrayal when everything was supposed to be perfect. Jenna and I had been together for 5 years, and honestly I thought we were solid. She was fiery, stubborn, always talking shit about everyone she thought was fake or untrustworthy. She had that bitchy attitude that she'd throw around like a weapon, but I loved her for it. She was gorgeous, driven, and convinced she was the queen of the world. We'd talk about marriage, our future, how we'd build something that nobody could tear apart. And then, just a week before our wedding, everything started to unravel. It all began with little things. She'd be on her phone more than usual, texting away like she was hiding something. I didn't think much of it at first because she's always been a bit secretive, but the way she'd quickly hide her screen or get defensive when I asked about her messages, that was weird. She'd snap back with some bitchy remark, telling me I was paranoid or insecure. I'd tell her to chill out, but deep down I felt this gnawing suspicion that I was missing something. Still, I brushed it off because I was about to marry her and I didn't want to ruin our last days as single people. Then came the night of my father's funeral. It was supposed to be a solemn occasion, a celebration of his life, but Jenna was acting strange that day. She was distant, distracted, snapping at me over nothing. I remember catching her glance at her phone more than once during the service, her eyes flickering with something I couldn't quite read. After the funeral, I found her alone in the hotel room, texting on her phone. I honestly didn't think much. I was exhausted, emotionally drained, and I just wanted to get some rest. But the next morning, I noticed her phone was still open on a message thread, one that didn't look right. It was from a number I didn't recognize, and the message was blunt and explicit. "Can't wait to see you tonight. It's been too long." My stomach dropped. I stared at it, trying to process what I was seeing. My mind raced through all the possibilities. Was this some kind of joke, a prank, or, no, this was real? I saw her reply, "Me neither. The thought of you keeps me going." That was enough. I knew then that Jenna had been cheating on me, probably during the funeral, during my father's burial. The betrayal cut so deep I felt dizzy. How could she do this? Right before I was supposed to marry her, right when I was vulnerable and trusting. That message was just the tip of the iceberg. I could feel it. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I spent the day locked in my head, replaying everything. The little signs, her defensive attitude, her secretive phone habits, all of it suddenly made sense. Jenna, the bitchy queen who always thought she was above everyone, was actually playing me for a fool. She thought she could lie to my face, steal my trust, and walk away clean. But I wasn't going to let her. I knew I had to get to the bottom of this, no matter how much it hurt. I needed to see the full picture to understand just how deep her lies ran and what she was really capable of. Later that evening, I waited for her to come back from whatever she was doing. When she finally walked into the hotel room, I was already sitting there, phone in hand, staring her down. Her face paled when she saw the expression on mine. I didn't yell at first. I didn't even say much. I just showed her the message and watched her reaction. She tried to deny it, of course, said it was nothing, just a joke, a misunderstanding. But I knew better. Her lies were so obvious, her eyes darting around, trying to spin her way out of it. That's when I realized this wasn't just some fling. It was something she'd been planning for a while. And the worst part, she had the nerve to look me in the eyes and lie straight to my face like I was stupid or something. That night, everything changed. After I threw the phone down on the bed, Jenna's face twisted into a sneer. She crossed her arms and tried to act like I was overreacting, like I just misunderstood some harmless flirtation. "You're blowing this out of proportion, Jake," she snapped, her voice dripping with that bitchy edge she always threw around. "It's just some stupid message. It means nothing. You're paranoid like always. You're just insecure, that's all." I looked at her, feeling my blood boil. I'd known she could lie, but hearing her actually deny what I'd just seen, made everything worse. I could feel the rage bubbling up, but I kept my voice steady. "No, Jenna," I said, voice low but firm. "I saw the messages. You've been cheating on me during my father's funeral, during the most vulnerable moment of my life. How can you sit there and lie to my face about it? You think I'm stupid?" Her eyes flickered. She was trying to hold her composure, but I saw her blinking fast, her excuses already forming. "Look," she spat out, You don't understand what you're accusing me of. That's just some dumb flirtation. It doesn't mean I want to leave you or that I've been unfaithful. You're just paranoid and jealous. Maybe you're the one who's been sneaking around, huh?" Her words hit like punches. I felt my fists clench and my stomach twist. I couldn't believe her audacity. Here she was, trying to flip the script, make me doubt what I just saw. I had to be smart about this. I told her I wasn't going to listen to her lies anymore and I needed her to be honest. I wanted the truth, all of it. I told her I knew she'd been seeing someone else and I wasn't leaving until she admitted it. Her face twisted into a bitchy smile, the kind that made me want to punch her. "You think I'm some kind of cheater. You're the one who's insecure, always accusing me. You don't trust me. Maybe you're the one who's been messing around. Ever since we met, I've been the one faithful and you've been jealous and suspicious. Typical." That moment, I realized she wasn't going to come clean easily. She was a master at twisting things, at lying her way out of anything. I felt a mix of anger, sadness, and disgust. I'd given her everything, my trust, my love, and here she was, throwing it all away for some guy she probably met online or at some bar. I couldn't stomach the thought of her cheating on me, especially during one of the worst times of my life. I looked at her, her bitchy smirk still on her face, and I decided I'd had enough. I told her I wasn't going to stay with someone who would betray me like that, not after everything we'd gone through. I told her I was done and I would figure out what to do next. The confrontation didn't end there. She kept denying, kept throwing accusations back at me, calling me insecure, crazy, jealous. She insisted it was all some misunderstanding, some stupid joke, and I was reading too much into it. But I knew better. I'd seen enough. This wasn't some innocent flirtation. It was real, it was ongoing, and she had no shame about it. Her lies only confirmed she was capable of anything to cover her tracks. Still, I stayed calm, knowing I needed to think clearly. I told her I was going to check her phone, her emails, anything that could prove what she was hiding. Her bitchy attitude only grew more defiant. She told me I was overreacting, that I was crazy for even suspecting her. I saw the cracks in her facade then, the way her eyes flickered with frustration and anger. She knew I was onto her, and I could tell she was planning her next move, but I wasn't going to let her control the narrative anymore. I wanted to see everything, find out just how far her lies went. That night I decided I wasn't going to stay silent. I'd confront her again, push for the truth, and then decide what my next step was. Because I knew this was just the beginning. The betrayal ran so much deeper than I initially thought, and I was finally starting to see the full picture. The next morning I couldn't sleep. My mind kept circling back to those messages, the way Jenna's face had twisted with anger and denial. I knew I couldn't trust her anymore, not just because of that one message, but because everything about her attitude screamed she'd been hiding something. I decided I'd find out the truth once and for all. I knew her passwords, her emails, her social media accounts. She thought she was so clever, but I wasn't about to let her keep lying to my face. I was going to catch her in the act if I had to. I started by going through her phone when she was in the shower. It was risky, but I needed to see if she was hiding more than just that one message. When I unlocked her phone, I saw dozens of notifications from a messaging app. My heart pounded as I scrolled through. There were texts, photos, even deleted messages that I managed to recover. They went way beyond innocent flirting. Jenna had been exchanging explicit photos and messages with this guy named Mike. She called him babe, said they were meant to be, and mentioned meeting up soon. I couldn't believe what I was reading. Words hit me like a punch to the gut. She'd been lying about everything. All those times she told me she didn't have time for games or flirty stuff. She was secretly planning her next move with this Mike. I felt sick. I felt betrayed on a level I never thought possible. She'd been playing me the entire time, right under my nose during the funeral, during our supposed last days as a couple. I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. How dare she lie to my face, cheat on me, then try to deny it? I needed to confront her again, but this time with proof. When she finally came out of the shower, I already had her phone in my hand. Her eyes widened when she saw it. I didn't even wait, I just threw the phone on the bed and showed her the messages. Her face went pale, her bitchy attitude evaporated in an instant. She stammered, trying to deny everything, trying to spin some new story. "It's not what you think," she said, voice trembling. "That's just some stupid flirtation, no big deal." I was furious. I told her I'd seen enough. She had been screwing around with Mike for weeks, maybe longer. She had been lying for so long, covering her tracks, trying to pretend everything was fine. Jenna's reaction was classic. She started with the "I don't know what you're talking about," then moved quickly into "it's not serious," and finally into outright bitchy denial. "You're just jealous," she spat. "You're insecure. You think sex with someone else means I don't love you. Please. I've had enough of your accusations. Maybe I should be asking you what you've been doing behind my back all these years." That pissed me off so bad I wanted to punch her. Instead, I just told her she was a liar, a cheat, and a manipulator. I said I'd been blind, but now I saw her true face. I decided I'd had enough of her bullshit. I told her I was going to pack my stuff and leave. No point in staying with someone who thinks betrayal is just some game. I told her I couldn't trust her anymore, and I didn't want to be with anyone who'd lie so easily, who'd sleep with my supposed best friend and then call it sex, no big deal. She tried to plead, to cry, to act like I was overreacting. But I was. I knew I was done. I felt like my whole world was crashing down, but I also knew I couldn't stay and be part of her lie anymore. As I started packing, she kept trying to manipulate me, saying I was overreacting, that I was crazy, that I was ruining everything because I couldn't handle the truth. But the truth was all over her phone. It was in those messages from Mike. It was in her fake tears and her bitchy attitude, trying to turn everything around and make me the villain. I realized she was good at lying, but I was better at seeing the truth. I had to get out before I lost myself completely. I knew I'd have to confront the fallout eventually, but for now, all I wanted was to get as far away from her as possible. I didn't want her to manipulate me anymore, to twist everything into her favor. I just wanted out, to start healing from this mess. Leaving Jenna's apartment was one of the hardest things I've ever done. My hands were trembling as I grabbed my few belongings, trying to keep my composure. Inside, I felt like I was breaking apart, but outwardly I had to look like I was in control. I knew I couldn't stay, not anymore. The trust was shattered and the betrayal ran so deep I couldn't see a way back. As I locked the door behind me, I felt an overwhelming mix of relief and despair. I was finally free from her lies, but I also felt like I had lost part of myself. Driving away, I kept replaying the last few hours, the evidence I found, her frantic denial, her bitchy smirk when I confronted her. It all felt like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I was angry at her, furious that she'd played me for so long, but I was also heartbroken. I'd loved her, believed in us, and she'd thrown it all away for some stupid sex with my so-called best friend, Mike. That thought kept stabbing me in the chest. How someone could be so selfish, so reckless, so disgusting. I'd never felt this betrayed in my whole life. In the days that followed, I tried to keep busy. I told a few close friends what had happened, and they were outraged, sympathetic, and some even angry at Jenna for her betrayal. But deep down, I was just numb. Every time I thought about her, I'd get this sick feeling in my stomach. I kept asking myself, how did I miss all the signs? How could I have been so blind? The whole wedding, the love I thought we shared, was that just a lie too? Or was I just fooling myself into thinking it was real? Things felt like they'd been shattered beyond repair. I didn't want to jump to conclusions about Mike or Jenna's other possible affairs, but I knew I couldn't ignore what I found. That message, those photos, they confirmed everything. I was done playing nice. I needed to do something about it. I wasn't just going to walk away quietly. I wanted her to know I knew the truth. I wanted her to feel the pain she'd caused me. That's when I decided I'd send her a message, a parting shot, to make sure she understood the depth of her betrayal. I didn't want her thinking I was some fool who just accepted being lied to and cheated on without consequences. I sat down that night and typed out a message, something cold, direct, and bitter. I told her I knew everything, the messages, the sex, the lies, and that I wasn't going to be a part of her game anymore. I said I hoped she got what she wanted, but I'd be better off without her manipulative, bitchy ass. I told her I'd tell everyone what she did, that I'd make sure she paid for what she'd taken from me. I wanted her to feel the weight of her betrayal, the way it crushed my heart, the way it shattered the future I'd envisioned. I pressed send, then sat back feeling both victorious and empty. I knew I'd done the right thing, but it didn't make the pain go away. In the aftermath, I cut all contact with Jenna. I blocked her on social media, deleted her number, and tried to focus on myself. I knew I needed time to heal, to process the betrayal, to rebuild my trust in people. But honestly, I was angry more than anything. Angry at her for being so manipulative, so selfish, so willing to destroy everything we had over some sex with a guy who didn't mean anything. And I was angry at myself for trusting her so blindly, for believing she was capable of loving me. That realization hit hard, that sometimes the ones you love the most are the ones who hurt you the worst. Looking back, I see now that I was naive. I believed in the fairy tale, in the idea that love could conquer all. But Jenna showed me that some people are just good at hiding who they really are, even from themselves. The betrayal has left scars, no doubt. But it also taught me a hard lesson about trust, about reading the signs, about not ignoring the little things that don't add up. I do think I'll ever forget the pain, but I also know I'll never let myself be that blind again. I'll be more cautious, more guarded, and I'll never again let someone betray me like that without paying the price. Because at the end of the day, I deserve better than someone who lies, cheats, and manipulates. I just hope the next chapter I write for myself is one where I finally find real happiness, without betrayal lurking around every corner. It's been a few weeks since I kicked Jenna out of my life, and honestly, I'm still trying to pick up the pieces. Every day is a new battle with the memories, with the betrayal, with the anger threatening to consume me. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, thinking about all the things I missed, her secret messages, the lies she told, the way she looked at him during our supposed last moments together. It's like a punch to the gut every time I remember how she betrayed me, especially when I was at my most vulnerable, burying my father. That pain is still fresh, still raw. I've been staying busy, trying to distract myself from the pain. I've gone out with friends, started hitting the gym, even picked up some new hobbies. But deep down, I know I'm just pretending to be okay. Jenna's betrayal changed me. It made me question everything I used to believe in: trust, loyalty, love. I can't help but wonder if I was just a fool for ever trusting her in the first place. How could someone so manipulative and bitchy be capable of such a deep betrayal? That question haunts me, and I don't have the answer yet. One thing I've realized is how much her words, her lies, and her attitude affected my perception of myself. I used to think I was a pretty confident guy, someone who knew what he wanted. Now I'm not so sure. The betrayal tore down a lot of my self-esteem. I keep replaying the moments she'd be bitchy, the way she'd lie with that fake smile, trying to make me doubt myself. I've come to see how dangerous it is to ignore the signs, to brush off your gut feeling when something feels wrong. Jenna made me blind because I wanted to see the good in her, but that was my mistake. Still, I'm determined to move on. I've decided I need to rebuild not just my life but also my trust in myself. I've been talking to a counselor, started to work through the anger and hurt, trying to understand why I let her manipulate me for so long. It's not easy. Sometimes I feel like I'm just wasting time, that I'll never trust anyone the same way again. But I know I can't live in that place forever. I've gotten to the point where I want to find someone who actually deserves my trust, someone who's honest, respectful, and not a manipulative bitch like Jenna. I've been reflecting a lot on what I want from a relationship now. Honestly, I've learned to value honesty and loyalty above everything else. I don't want to be someone's fool again, waiting around for the truth to come out. I deserve better than the betrayal Jenna handed me. That doesn't mean I'm rushing into anything, though. For now, I just want to focus on myself, my career, my mental health, my future. I want to rebuild a sense of confidence that Jenna tried to destroy. It's not going to happen overnight, but I have to start somewhere. The thing I keep telling myself is that this betrayal, as painful as it's been, is also a wake-up call. I can see now that I was too trusting, too eager to believe the best in people. Jenna proved she's capable of lying, manipulating, and betraying me without a second thought, but I refuse to let her define me or my future. I want to learn from this mess. I want to become stronger, smarter, more cautious. I know I'll carry scars, but I also know I'll come out of this smarter and more resilient. One day, I'll look back and realize that her betrayal was the catalyst I needed to finally get my life on the right track, without the lies and bullshit. And that thought, weirdly, gives me a flicker of hope. Now, as I sit here reflecting on everything, I realize how much I've grown through this nightmare. Jenna's betrayal broke my heart, shattered my trust, and left me questioning everything I thought I knew about love and loyalty. But it also forced me to look inward and rebuild myself from the ground up. I've learned that not everyone deserves your trust, and that sometimes the biggest lessons come from the deepest pain. I won't lie. There are still days when I wake up angry or bitter, days when I think about calling her and letting her know how much she screwed me over. But those moments pass. I've come to understand that revenge or anger won't heal me or bring her back. What I've gained is clarity. Jenna was never the person I thought she was, and her lies showed her true nature. Her bitchy attitude, her manipulative ways, those were her real face all along. I see now that I was blinded by love, by hope that she was different, but she was. And I'm better for finally seeing her for who she really is. The pain of betrayal has turned into a lesson, one I'll carry forever, but it's also made me realize my worth. I don't need someone who plays with my feelings, who cheats and lies just to get what they want. Moving forward, I'm choosing to focus on myself. I'm rebuilding my confidence, my trust in my own judgment. I'm not rushing into anything new, not letting that pain define my future. Instead, I'm taking small steps every day, learning to forgive myself for trusting her, forgiving her for the betrayal, and most importantly, forgiving myself for not seeing the signs sooner. I've come to understand that the pain will never fully go away, but I can learn to live with it, to grow stronger because of it. Jenna taught me a harsh lesson about human nature, about how some people will lie, cheat, and manipulate without remorse. But she also showed me how to recognize the warning signs early and to never ignore that little voice inside that tells you something's wrong. The trust I lost is painful, but it's also a shield now. I won't let anyone do that to me again. I'll be more cautious, more guarded, but also more genuine in what I expect from others. In the end, I know I'll find happiness again. Maybe not with Jenna or with the people who betrayed me, but someday with someone who actually deserves my trust. Someone who's honest, loyal, and committed. Until then, I'll keep building myself up, learning from my mistakes, and making sure I never get blindsided like this again. Because if there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's that betrayal cuts deep, but strength and resilience can heal even the deepest wounds. And I'm determined to come out of this stronger, wiser, tougher, and more aware of what real love is supposed to look like.